Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson Zia, double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by The Sweet Psalm. It's by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, now on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalm is Serena Wagner. And brought to you by our brand new sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, the Sensei of Swing, Eric Diamond with the latest All of Me, and new music coming soon to your favorite platform near you, ericdiamondmusic.com. We're here with an amazing gentleman who is emerging singer-songwriter based in Dublin, Ireland. Began his career at 10, writing music, performing at 14 across Ireland and beyond, sharing the stage with Glenn Hansard and many others, ORB, Liam O'Manty, and a lot more. Also playing the inaugural opening of Once in Dublin. He also been featured on a number of platforms, radio stations, TVs, everything like that. Also performed headline tours in 24 across the US, UK, and Ireland, and also a couple of albums that has charted in the UK. And we'll be talking about his latest release, which is Diggin The Idleflower. Live, ladies and gentlemen, at Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Dublin. The amazing emerging singer-songwriter based in Dublin, and with Diggin The Idleflower, the amazing multi-talent, Colm Gavin. Colm, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be talking to you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Colm. So you're emerging singer-songwriter based in Dublin. You began a career at 10, writing music, performing at 14. You also share the stage with a number of artists. You also played the inaugural opening at Once in Dublin. You also been featured in a number of TV, radio stations across Ireland. You performed headline tours in 24 across Ireland, US, and UK. You also have a couple releases that chart the UK, and we'll be talking about Diggin The Idleflower. Before getting all that, Colm, tell us how I first got started.
Well, you covered a multitude there, Mike. So from where I am at the moment, I'm in a place called Áras Crónán, which is an Irish cultural centre in Clondalkin. Around the corner from here, as the crow flies that way, I studied in a place called the Clondalkin School of Music. And I was very fortunate. I had an incredible teacher, a guy by the name of Peter Stanton. And Peter had a military background. So he was in the Army No. 1 band in County Cork. He was a child of industrial school, so he was in Artane. So from the very early stages of his life, music was as perennial as the grass, as he would have said. And so I started attending classes with him. I was probably about 11 or 12. But I always had an innate curiosity for music. When I heard people like Gordon Lightfoot and Neil Young and Bob Dylan for the first time, I was just so enamored with the idea that you could write songs and that they could kind of become a part of the global catalogue. If you wrote a half-decent one, it could. So that's the beginning anyway.
Oh my gosh, you've got an amazing background right there. And what was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into what you do in the rest of your career?
It's very difficult to pin it down to one moment because there's been so many. And in a lot of ways, when you think about the journey as a whole, it's never just one moment that's an influential trigger that makes you want to go on and pursue it. But again, it would have been hearing the likes of people like Harry Chapin and Jim Croce, artists now who I never had the good fortune of seeing live. But as I said, I had a great teacher. I would have studied the guitar playing styles of people like Pierre Bensusan and Tony Rice and Clarence White. And that very much would have influenced my style of playing. And I guess when you just become so integrated in that world, it's hard to imagine life being any other way.
Certainly did as well. And besides Gordon Lightfoot, Bob Dylan, Jim Croce, some of your favorites, who are some other favorite singers, songwriters, and musicians growing up?
Well, the Great American Songbook played a huge role. So people like Jerome Kern, of course, Stephen Sondheim, Leonard Bernstein, the Gershwins, of course, George and Ira Gershwin. And then that great Brill building sound, Neil Sedaka, who thank God is still with us.
Oh, one of my favorites. Can't forget him.
I love him. Him and Howie Greenfield, they just, in many ways, that was the sound of New York in the 1960s. Goffin and King, the whole Brill building sound, that kind of early 1960s, late 50s pop era would have had a huge influence on me too.
Certainly as well too. You also cut your own teeth as well too with some music like A Voice for the Darlings. Also you had What's Another Drink Among Friends, and also What's It Like in LA. We'll cover some of the music with the amazing multi-talent Colm Gavin. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love you to first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. In Evil Evan enjoys by Howard Celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia. Double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote in his time as a shepherd growing up, where it started, and his complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner. Also brought to you by our brand new sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, the Sensei of Swing. Eric Diamond has released All of Me, featuring the title track, I've Got a New Heartache, Bring Me Sunshine and More. Eric is a multi-award winning artist, inducted in a number of Hall of Fames, entertainer and album of the year, and releasing new CDs soon. Check out the amazing Eric Diamond at ericdiamondmusic.com today. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and all music platforms worldwide. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show, MikeWagnerShow.com, 40 podcast platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, iHeart, and more. Tickets with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia merchandise, books, and more. And support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here's amazing multi-talented emerging singer-songwriter based in Dublin, Ireland, Colm Gavin, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Before we talk about your latest Diggin The Idleflower, you also had a couple of that made the charts, like your Endless Slumber and A Voice for the Urban Darlings. And tell us more about those.
So Your Endless Slumber was the first EP that I ever officially released, and that was in 2014. And I suppose up until that point, Mike, I'd been in bands in college, and like a lot of musicians in Dublin, my first start was busking. I was playing music on the street to Dublin, in Grafton Street and Temple Bar, just trying to get experience more than anything else. And so for me, there was always an obvious point of progression. You'd go from playing in the street, then you'd play bars, then you might write your own music, then you might release your own music. And so for me, it very much happened in that sort of timeline. And 2014 was my first release, Your Endless Slumber, followed by A Voice for the Urban Darlings, which came out with PO Records. That was my first release with the PO Records label. And I've been with them ever since. It's almost been 10 years.
That is so amazing, having that chart, being with the label for a long time and everything else. You also had some singles like What's Another Drink Between Friends, It's Starting to Feel Like Love, and also Someday Pudding Someday. I like that one. Tell us more about those and what inspired you to write them.
Well, those last songs that you mentioned come from the new album, which is Diggin The Idleflower.
Oh, it is? Okay. Whoops. I gave it away, folks. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. But yeah, again, so many of my influences bubble to the surface in ways that you wouldn't expect. And I think with the long play format of an album, it gives you a little bit more time to exercise those type of influences. So like you said, the writing of people like Sedaka and Greenfield, like Goffin and King, Pat Stevens, a lot of the great songwriters of the 60s and 70s would have a huge influence on my music. And yeah, so those songs are all available on Diggin The Idleflower, and it's available to stream and to download on Spotify and iTunes, Deezer, Google Play, all those places.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mainly base your lyrics on?
It depends. You know, in a lot of cases, I'm not necessarily the key narrator. You mentioned a song called It's Starting to Feel Like Love. And that song sort of plays around with the notion of a goofy guy who's just in love with this girl who's way out of his reach, and he's trying to win her with all these cliched phrases like we go like hand in glove. It's new, but I can't deny it's starting to feel like love. It's like a guy from a Humphrey Bogart movie. So in a lot of cases, I'm not necessarily the chief narrator, and I like that. I like having those sort of parameters to write within because I've always felt that artists, singer-songwriters should have the same latitude as short story writers, and we still don't have it, but I try to employ that whenever I can.
And certainly as well too. And plus, you also been on tour as well too throughout U.S., UK, Ireland. You also play the opening of once in Dublin as well.
Yeah, it's been great, Mike. Like, there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't stop and say the teenage version of me would be really proud if he could see today, because so often is the case that we have ambitions to be actors or playwrights or poets or songwriters, and life gets in the way. And for one reason or another, we don't pursue it. But I was fairly steadfast, even in my teens, that this was what I was always going to do. So every time I have the good fortune to talk to somebody like yourself, or to do a radio segment, or to do a show in a different country, the significance of that is never lost on me.
And certainly as well too, you also have the privilege of opening for a number of acts too, like Glenn Hansard, also ORB, Liam Almonte, and correct me if I'm wrong these spellings here, John Spillane and Keela, and a lot more. And you have the fortune of opening for a number of acts.
Yeah, that's always a huge compliment, because a lot of the people who you mentioned when I was growing up were key players in the business, particularly on the Irish music scene. So to eventually have the good fortune to be able to share the stage with them was a huge honor too. There's no doubt.
And plus as well too, and of course making waves with Diggin The Idleflower. We'll get to a few more songs with Colm Gavin in just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mulson's Missing, available on Amazon. Brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and brought to you by Eric Diamond Music with his latest All of Me, featuring God New Heartache and more. EricDiamondMusic.com. We'll be back with the multi-talented Colm Gavin after this time out. We're back to the multi-talented Colm Gavin of Diggin The Idleflower here on the Mike Wagner Show. And, getting back to your release as well, too, you have Little Rowboat to China, Kitty Macaroni. And I guess the question is, what's it like in L.A.?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it? Yeah, yes. I suppose, Mike, that particular song, What's It Like in LA, is one of those moments where you're trying to make contact with an ex-partner, maybe an ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, and you're dodging the real meat and potatoes of the subject that you want to talk about because they've moved on with their life. You're a little bit afraid that your presence is probably going to be a bit insignificant. And ultimately, whatever the guy wants to say, he never says it. He tiptoes around it. He says things like, do you still find the time, even once in a while, to traipse Barnes and Noble, read on the beach and laugh till you cry? All those things he loved about her, and just hopes that all of those qualities are still there and intact. And it's a very simple song in that sense, as are so many of the tunes on Diggin The Idleflower. And that's just one of them.
And plus, it made me think as well too, like, say it's not you, it's me, pretty much come and gone, stay friends and everything like that. But of course, we also have one song you've been talking about as well too, one of your upcoming. It's called Song for Sam, and tell us more about that.
So Song for Sam was written for my godson Sam, because he was the last of 6 grandchildren.
Oh wow!
And I wanted to do something other than just write a card and give him a voucher for Toys R Us or whatever. I wanted to write something that had a bit more permanence, and that thus far has been probably the most popular song from the new release. Radio have been very kind to it, and I appreciate you playing it too.
Certainly do that as well too. We'll be playing that song at the end of the audio interview, so make sure you tune in for that. And of course, another thing, where do you see yourself about 5-10 years from now?
Well, hopefully above ground. Things are going really well at the moment, and in this business, it's all about sustained momentum. So it's one thing saying you're going to go on a tour. It's another thing following it up with a second one and a third one and a fourth one. So I just hope to be in good enough health to be able to do that and to continue to travel and to make music and continue to work with people because I get to collaborate with some great artists as well, which is a huge honor. And one of the key things that I love so much about this business and the work that I do. So that's all I could hope for.
Right. And of course, you've got great future ahead of you. In the meantime, where can we find all your music at, including Diggin The Idleflower and more?
Well, Spotify is a good place to go for music. And it's, it's not too favorable on the side of the artist, but it's a great place to find things. So it's a good place to start. iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, Deezer. If I'm repeating myself, forgive me. All the typical
It's okay. It's good to promote so people remember it's good. So
no, it is. And then, of course, if you want to get in touch, Instagram and Facebook. So Colm Gavin on Instagram and Colm Gavin Music on Facebook. They're the two good port of calls.
All right. Well, certainly check those out as well. We're the multi-talented Colm Gavin of Diggin The Idleflower here on the Mike Wagner Show. Don't forget to check out one of the songs at the end of the audio interview. Make sure you do that. And a few more things. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond?
It's a busy year. So I'm going to be playing all across Ireland, the UK, the United States. I'm just back from the Czech Republic. I did a great show in Prague. I felt it went really well. The people were just gorgeous. So yeah, a lot of touring. And hopefully I have plans to release a live record at the end of the year. And as well as that, I write for a lot of other artists. So people like Jenny Hanlon, Sinead Black, Claudia Buckley, Ciara Dignam. So they've all got music that I've written or co-written coming out in 2025 too. So it's a productive year.
And sounds very productive indeed. We wish you all that. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, well, there's a million artists who I could pick. Like I referenced people like Harry Chapin and Bob Dylan and those kind of guys, Frank Zappa. But really my music teacher, Peter Stanton, because he taught me the ABCs of music, but he was also a great source of counsel. He's no longer alive. He passed away in 2021. But in my toughest times, I can still sort of hear his voice linger in the background. And he was just a mentor. He was a guru. He was a great friend. And I miss him deeply. I was a student of his and I knew him for about 17 years. And it's a real shame he's not around anymore. But he would definitely be my biggest influence.
And certainly one of the best as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, the best advice, there's a great phrase that I use again and again. It's easy to be faked out by being busy, but the question should always be busy doing what? So the way you spend your time is accumulative and you are what you do every day. So it's good not to forget that.
I think that's a really good piece of advice as well. That is very amazing. We're here with the multi-talented Colm Gavin of Diggin The Idleflower here on the Mike Wagner Show. Colm, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'll have you back. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
Well, thanks for your time, Mike. I really appreciate it. Facebook and Instagram. They're the two ports of call, I would say. Colm Gavin Music and then Colm Gavin on Instagram. And thank you again, Mike.
And thank you as well, too. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love having you back. We wish you best. You've been absolutely amazing. And you definitely have a great future ahead of you, Colm.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.